Welcome to the Old Republic Podcast.
We are a podcast that discusses Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, general sci-fi, and about the stories that inspired a galaxy.
Consider this a spoiler warning for everything under the sun and the twin suns in that galaxy far, far away.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay. I was really excited to cover more SWTOR trailers, so here we are, kind of not even like maybe 2 or 3 weeks after the first batch of SWTOR trailers we covered, and I'm like, let's do the rest of them. I'm so excited. So how are you today, Brian?
I am doing good. I'm also excited to talk about the rest of the SWTOR trailers because, just a couple weeks ago we talked about kind of SWTOR and the release of that and the build-up to the game coming out in those first 3 trailers. Today we're going to be taking a look at the following 3 trailers and how they fit into the timeline of the different expansions that came out into the game.
Yeah. I'm excited to cover them. I'm vaguely aware of, some of the expansions, and I've always been impressed by the trailers, even if I can't be, a super fan and name exactly which each character, what their name is, but they kind of tell a story on their own,
Yeah, they do a really good job of kind of getting you excited for the game and kind of serving as a lead-in to the game a little bit, but then also kind of telling their own kind of self-contained story as well. So yeah, they're really fun to watch kind of on their own, or in addition to, I suppose, if you were playing the game at the time when these were coming out, to kind of build hype for, the different expansions and things like that were coming out for it. And maybe that's something we'll have to do. Maybe we'll have to pick a character or two, or see if any of our Patreon patrons have a favorite SWTOR character, and we can do a little bit of a deep dive on that particular character and see what we can find out about him.
Yeah. Let's get started.
Let's get started indeed. So we thought we'd kind of just go through the different expansions that came along here from the original SWTOR game, right, that came out in 2011. And the first one we had was the Rise of the Hutt Cartel. It was announced less than a year after the launch of the initial game, and it released then in 2013. This story-based update would bring the Hutts into the fold, challenging the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire for control over the galaxy. And we get a new location in the Rise of the Hutt Cartel called Makeb, and as far as I know, Makeb has only ever been within the SWTOR universe. It's not been in any other comic books or TV shows or anything like that. So that was the first one, and then the next year we get 3 updates. 2 of those were gameplay focused, and then there was a third update that year that was story focused. And Cassie, do you remember that book that we talked about?
The Revan novel?
That's the one. Ding, ding, ding. So the following year, in 2014, we get the Galactic Starfighter, which came out in February, and you might have guessed it brings starfighters into the game. So you get a scout ship, a strike fighter ship, or a gunship that you could use in the new space combat aspect of the game. There was a Galactic Strongholds expansion that came out in October, which gives you, as you might have guessed it, strongholds. So now players can set up their own housing and get their own flagships for their guilds within the game. And then the big one, Cassia, right here, Shadow of Revan, comes out in December 2014. It's going to be the next story-based update. So this is going to focus on the Order of Revan, which is a fringe group, I guess, that had previously kind of appeared in the game or been talked about in the game, but now the Order of Revan is a great army led by none other than, dun dun dun, Revan. It adds 2 more locations, Rishi, which is a pirate haven, and we've actually seen that in episodes of the Clone Wars. It's mentioned in Dooku Jedi Lost. The
Rishi Maze, right?
Exactly. Resistance, and then some other books and comics, and Yavin 4. But Order of Revan, that's pretty good, right? It's bringing that Revan novel into play here.
Yeah, because I love it so much. It's interesting because it's almost like I'm not opposed to Revan having a shadow, there being an Order of Revan, but for me it would be more interesting if someone, I think you kind of proposed this, it's the Mask of Revan survives, but it's not literally Revan, behind it. But yeah, I think it's like beating a dead horse, you know, like people should stay in their own times, have their conclusions with the characters that we saw them grow, you know, like in the video game with, you know, and I'm not opposed to like Revan having a legacy, but it just seems like the way they kind of did it, it's like technically like Satil and Theron Shan are descendants of Revan, and I don't think they ever like share screen time in SWTOR with Revan, you know?
Yeah, that could be. That's the problem, I guess, if you're gonna, you know, take a nap for 300 years or whatever happens to Revan. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the way that the Revan story goes within SWTOR, so maybe we'll have to do a little bit of digging there. But yeah, obviously that's kind of coming off the back of the Revan novel, which we've talked about here on the podcast before. So go check that out if you want more information about the novel. So that's what we got in 2014. Then the next expansion is going to be a really big one. It's largely increasing the size of the story. It's bringing in companions and more locations. And we get our first of the new cinematic trailers, which is the Sacrifice trailer, which comes out in 2015. So just like on the last one, we're going to kind of watch this together, Cassie and I. And if you want to watch along at home with us, go ahead. And then we're just going to kind of talk our way through it and see what we think here about this first trailer. So this is Sacrifice from 2015. Okay, can you see that
Ultra
on my screen?
HD 4K.
Ultra HD 4K. Sacrifice. All right, so we are going to hit play in 3, 2, 1.
A man can have anything if he's willing to sacrifice.
That guy's a rad shirt.
I
There's like a
believe that's
dragon in the middle of it.
Comes a solemn vow.
Oh.
You will have nothing.
Brothers. One light,
Brothers.
one dark.
More privilege.
It's like Gladiator running through the wheat field there.
Yeah.
Dang, that kid just got hit in the face with a stick.
Yep. Still brothers.
Still brothers. One is wearing a white tunic, one is wearing a black tunic, which seems very foreshadowy.
In the
Oh,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yellow.
only ambition will guide you.
Had a cool kyber crystal there.
The oaths you
They're
swear,
older.
the promises you make, they are yours.
They must be twins.
Yeah.
They look like Starkiller.
That's what I was thinking. They look exactly like Starkiller.
Your
Oh, that guy had a cool mask.
wars you wage.
There was Commander Cody. Oh, probably wasn't Commander Cody.
Before the Common Era.
Your birthright, the losses you suffer.
I like the snowy battlefield right there. That was pretty nice.
Looks like Geonosis.
Your entitlement, the pain you endure.
Yikes. Uh-oh.
And when darkness finds you,
Oh, his mask got broken.
you will face it alone.
He looks emotionally healthy.
Yeah, yeah, he does. So, I would not want to get in the way of these two.
I guess the ships look a
There.
little different, but I'm like, that's kind of basically what they use in the clone.
So is that Korriban then they were on? Oh, what do we got? What do we got? Oh,
Sith and Jedi.
Sith lightsabers? Jedi lightsabers? That kid couldn't take off his broken mask, though? What the heck? Oh, and he has a
And you become less
robotic
than
arm.
human. Or if you try to become more than human, you become less than human. Oh, that's not gonna be good. He was momentarily overcome by the dark side, even though he was wearing white.
Even though he's wearing white, yeah. Yeah, he's wearing white, which indicates the light side, but then he has that, he has like a mask on, which we normally only see with Sith characters, so that's interesting.
Come with me, son.
Was this a secret test of character? Oh, I think it was.
I think it was, yeah. Come with me, son. He says, okay. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. So that is the Sacrifice cinematic trailer.
Malgus wasn't in that one. That's interesting because I think he's kind of been like the character that's always been in the trailers.
Yeah, that's true. He was definitely in the first 3 trailers. So I don't know, kind of at this point, how much Malgus was playing into the storyline of, I guess, what we're playing. I think that Malgus has kind of always been a figure within SWTOR, but maybe not as important kind of at this point. I don't know. Just introducing some more stuff because, like I said, because like I said, we are going to be getting a pretty big expansion here, this next one. So that was the Sacrifice trailer, which came out in 2015, and then Knights of the Fallen Empire releases a few months later in October of 2015. So this is the newest story edition here. It's centered around the player, aka the Outlander, and it has new companions to all different classes of characters and a new alliance system. Which sounds kind of similar to what you had going on in KOTOR 2, where you're kind of influencing people and stuff like that, so you are able to make different allies throughout the game. So that is pretty neat. So yeah, so maybe this trailer really did serve as introducing some new characters here kinda for the story.
Because it seems like this Sith Emperor, like, he's always, like, not dying, and he's, like, transferring to other bodies. And sounds like his family, it's kind of like, they're not the Shan clan, they're not the Skywalker family, but, like, maybe they're, like, you know, the Bonapartes, or the Windsors, or the Plantagenets, or the Tudors of the Sith Empire. I don't know. So it's kind of like they're expanding the character set.
Expanding out, yeah, and the Emperor there was portrayed as a pretty young, or younger gentleman. They're not like super old or anything, so that's kind of interesting. So yes, that was the Knights of the Fallen Empire that released, and then the following year, in 2016, we're going to get another major update and another cinematic trailer. So that is going to be the Betrayed cinematic trailer, and then we're going to be watching this one here. So if you want to follow along, 3, 2, 1. Rated T for teen. Whoa.
I believe we might have reacted to this in one of our episodes, but I can't remember which. So so it starts out frantic, and then kind of
couple of moons
goes back in time to be like, it's idyllic.
Yeah. That's it. A kid found a little log, turned it into a bear or something.
What is it that the stormtroopers ride in the special edition of A New Hope?
Oh, the dewback.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't know how often we see, like, wood in Star Wars. It's kind of like a lot of metal and plastics.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Was that the same kid from the last trailer that was out there fighting?
I think those were the bros, and then it's like, and then they had a younger sister. Yeah. Because at first, like, the outfits kind of struck me as, like, High Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of similar. Has a lot of that like white and gold. Looks a lot like the High Republic stuff that we've seen
Yeah.
in the comics and concept art and stuff.
Fight.
Oh, her hair's longer. Ooh, I like that. The stick just breaks. She's fighting
Yeah.
creatively.
Whoa.
Oh,
a
now
bad time.
she's starting to lose it. Okay.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you, like, push an honor student too far, I think. So,
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, her hair did get long. Who's that up there? That must be...
the
Is that
Sith Emperor.
the Sith Emperor?
I think it's like Emperor Valkorin or something.
I like his, like,
They look
glowing
nice.
little shoulder pauldron things.
Yeah. This isn't ominous at all.
Yeah, yeah, right? Oh.
Yeah, they're meditating over her sleeping and, like, yeah, that doesn't look good. Oh, her hair's gone.
Hair's
A
gone.
tragedy has happened. Ooh.
She has
tattoos.
tattoos.
Now she's just like them.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yellow eyes.
No, it's
It
okay.
could
It was
just be
all
a
just
dream.
it was all just a dream. All just a dream.
Or was it?
Yeah, Mom, you better get things sorted. Or no, maybe that was a vision. Maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe it was really
The
happening.
blinking
She has to go.
lights yeah. On the clothes are cool. They remind me of, like, a lot of cyberpunk stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Star Wars.
Wow. So that was where the trailer opened, with her running here through the rain.
That reminds me of Dune for some reason. Like,
Yeah, it
the
looks kind
Bene
of
Gesserits say no.
looks kind of like Dune,
Yeah.
right, in the movie, because they all get there and it's like raining when they're like assembling the army or whatever.
Apparently there's only, like, one approved haircut. It's like, buzz cut. End of list.
It's the official SWTOR haircut.
Yeah.
Stay behind me.
Stay behind you. Your daughter just like crushed all those people in. She could take care of all these people.
Maybe she's emotionally compromised, the daughter.
That could be. Could be.
We're just weak. Like, they're like, you don't get your sandwich today. We're evil enough.
There's a little bit more lightsaber action there. There wasn't very, even despite you had the brothers in the last one, there wasn't that much lightsaber fighting.
Yeah. There's a bridge between them. She could cross it. But she's not going to.
She's not going to. Oh no. She couldn't get her kid out of there. That seems bad.
Not quite done yet.
No.
Is she going back there? Like, there's nothing good for you there.
Looks like... You know what all of this armor looks like? It looks like stuff from Mass Effect, which I guess makes sense since BioWare is
Yeah.
in charge. So I wonder if the like art departments were sharing different like
I
art.
think her daughter
stuff.
might appear. Ooh.
Ooh.
And she's like, I've left childish things behind. Yep. Her daughter's lost.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I think she's dead. So that's
That seems like bad news. That seems like bad news.
Knights of the Eternal Throne.
That's right. Knights of the Eternal Throne, indeed, because that is the next expansion that we got. So that came out in 2016 of December. And it continues the story of the Outlander and focuses on defeating Empress Valen and the Eternal Empire. So that must be Empress Valen that we just saw.
Yeah.
I guess, maybe. Maybe it is. I don't know for sure.
I'm voting yes, you know.
Yeah. And I know for the third trailer that we've got coming up here for Disorder, that one's very family oriented too. So it seems like the first three trailers were definitely focused on, you know, the Satil Shan and Malgus, and these three all seem to be more of this of these family dynamics going there. And yeah, that appeared to be Empress Valen, kind of her origin story, I guess, there coming through in that trailer. So that was pretty good. I like that trailer quite a bit. That was a fun one to go through. It had a good little bit of action, but I really liked kind of that flashback stuff with her like growing up and stuff like that, and carving the dewback. That was pretty cool. So that all came out in 2006. And then it's going to be 3 more years before the next expansion, which is in 2019, Onslaught, which basically just kind of carries on the story. You know, it's Sith Empire and Galactic Republic still duking it out for, you know, claiming rights to the galaxy. And then it's going to be quite a while then to 2022 when we're going to get our last kind of expansion and last cinematic trailer, which we've actually watched and reacted to, I think, Cassio on here when it first came out, because they released on the same day the expansion and the cinematic trailer. And that is the Disorder trailer from 2022.
We can always react again, though.
We can re-react, see how our opinions have changed on it here.
React to our re-reaction if we want to. That would be a re-reaction.
And what I remember about this in particular is, you know, we've talked about how you and I are not super familiar with the world of SWTOR, but people that were familiar with it or are familiar with it were really kind of surprised when this came out, because it had been 6 years since the last cinematic trailer. So it kind of, all indications look like SWTOR was like, you know, slowing down or getting ready to shut down. But then no, it came out with this new big expansion, this last trailer that we got, and you know, SWTOR is still going on as strong as ever. So we've got one more here, Cassius. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Disorder cinematic trailer.
Still rated T.
Rated T. Electronic Arts, BioWare, and Lucasfilm Games. That's right, we're Lucasfilm Games now at this point.
Looks like Mars.
It does. I don't know if John Carter's like down there
now
jumping
like
around.
A star map. Happy childhood, even though she's missing half of a Leku. It's a unicorn. No, I'm just kidding. It's a mudhorn.
It's a mudhorn. It's our second little creature. This is the first of the trailers that have voice acting in it, right?
After the first batch, I think, yeah. I mean, there's always been like a monologue. Just another day in the life for a Jedi.
Great.
Yeah, SWTOR always has more physicality with their lightsaber fights. So I guess you could kind of say it's like prequel fighting, but still more. Kind of like medieval fighting.
I suppose that's the benefit to not having to have people do it.
I mean, I think they use mocap, but there's Malgus, kind of like Frankenstein.
Go now.
It's like a rotating astrolabe, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think Darth Malgus is slowing down?
I don't know. That's what I was wondering, because it's been a lot of years, I guess, in the timeline of SWTOR, right? From
Yeah.
the time that we first meet Malgus to right now. So
She's gonna see her past from a certain point of view, I think. Ooh, Tarzan!
I'd say that was very swashbuckly right there.
Yeah. The buckles were swashed.
Focus, Tsar.
Now we're gonna separate you
So
from your brother.
good job, good job. Now you can, now you have to go away from your family. I like the little nurse droid there. It looked just like the
Ooh, bah.
one in in Revenge of the Sith.
Babies come when they come, you know? That's what I've learned from Revenge of the Sith.
That's right. And
In
sometimes
an
you
alternate
die from
universe, maybe I
sadness.
pitched this.
Sahar does not die from sadness, though. She just goes to the dark side, I think.
So it's like they're both trying to persuade her, but I think it's like I don't think either side is really lying to her, but like it's like they're trying to persuade her to see
Yeah.
things from their point of view. Kind of like to make this about, you know, some English poetry, Paradise Lost by John Milton, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Satan trying to persuade Eve. He's not really lying to Eve. He's not
True.
telling her an untruth, but he is trying to manipulate
Well
her.
done, young woman. Now give it to me.
Malgus got rocked. But
Brother,
What?
was I chosen by the Force? Or you?
Now's not the time.
Do you know what it is your master just destroyed?
Sahar, listen to me.
A machine built to find those the Jedi didn't deem worthy.
Silence! Give it to me. Now, Padawan.
It's not too late.
Ooh. I'm getting less Jedi vibes.
We can still
Yeah,
find
for
your
sure.
brother.
I've only ever protected you. You must trust me.
Oh, that's not good. I don't even know what that was.
where did that come from? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a Hunger Games trap.
Yeah, it was.
It's like she was angry at him, but she didn't want him to die.
Yeah.
Oh. It's like Christmas colors. Green
Right.
and red.
I feel like this is not going to go that well.
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually you don't see red mixed with the Jedi color, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Now I want to put you in another cage. But
Yeah,
call
seriously.
it freedom.
Just gonna knock down this whole cave.
When you're ready,
Come find.
break free.
Ooh, that's haunting.
Okay.
Legacy of the Sith.
Legacy of the Sith. That's right. Yeah, and that was the last of the cinematic trailers.
Yeah, I wonder. I kind of don't think there will be another one. I would be happy if there were, but like, SWTOR's kind of existed a long time. I don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, for sure. It's been over 10 years now that it's been in existence, and yeah, it's hard to say. Like I mentioned, when the Disorder cinematic trailer and then the Legacy of the Sith expansion came out, it seemed to me like I remember like people talking about like SWTOR like winding down and like shutting down, and EA and BioWare being like done with it, but then it got this expansion and got back in go in full swing. So I don't know. It's hard to say. There had been 6 years from the previous cinematic trailers, so I don't know. It's really kind of hard to tell. I don't know like what the like expected life cycle of one of these expansions is. It seemed like at first like there were some story ones, but obviously you're kind of working off of the bare bones of the original SWTOR there, so you're adding story elements and you're adding stuff like the fighter, like the space battle expansion and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's just a matter of like how much story they think that they're putting into these individual sections, or what the metric is for getting a new expansion out. So yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I would say probably SWTOR is winding down. And that's okay. It had a decade plus, legacy, and some great trailers. Would I be happy if like there are more expansions in the future? Yes. Do I expect them? Not really, but maybe I'm totally wrong and bad at reading the room,
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to say, for sure, without having our finger really on the pulse of what's going on in the SWTOR world. So I know, people seem to be really happy with this newest Legacy of the Sith, so that's been exciting. And now we've watched all 6 of these, Cassius. So between like the first 3, like the initial 3 that led into the game being launched, and then these 3 that have come along, since to coincide with the different expansions and, propelling the story forward. Did you have a preferred like set of these 3, or was there one of the trailers that you liked, above the others?
I think like the first ones we reacted to, I really liked the Deceived trailer and the Hope trailer. And then out of this batch, I think I really liked Disorder and Betrayed. What about you? Which ones stood out to you?
So they're kind of different, right? So I guess the first 3, they very much felt like they were like telling like one story, which makes sense because they were all released in the lead up to the game. Right, it's kind of telling the story of Satele Shan and Darth Malgus, like how they're getting to the point where they are at the beginning of the game. So that makes sense. Obviously, the newer ones are a little bit, better looking, I guess. Right, the graphical fidelity of them is a little bit better. So that's kind of interesting. I liked, kind of the playoff there with the brothers, and then the younger, I guess, sister, I guess, maybe, potentially is who that was, of there. So I liked kind of the family stuff in that, and it's hard to beat that star map at the beginning of the last one there, the Disorder trailer. But I think if I was just picking like my favorites of the ones that we watched, I think the first 3, because they felt a little bit more like contiguous of story building. But really really fun. It'd be fun to go in and learn a little bit more about the actual like story elements of the game and see how the trailers kind of fit in to that. Because I know like Legacy of the Sith was this last big expansion, which brings Darth Malgus back into focus, and that certainly is the case here in the trailer. And it ends up there's like a large scale battle on Manon, I think that I've read about. So it'd be interesting to see like how the story pairs up or builds off of these trailers.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting to see, like, sometimes people, like, when they react to movie trailers, it's like sometimes that trailer experience doesn't necessarily correlate to the movie experience. Because I just watched The Lost City of Z, or Zed, if, you're British or Canadian, And kind of like when you would see the trailers for that, it made it seem like it was like kind of like an Indiana Jones movie, much more adventurous than it was. But it's kind of like a quiet, contemplative movie where it kind of deconstructs like why people seek out places far beyond themselves. And yeah, like sometimes like when you have like a big MMO RPG, like I don't know how do you say that, like morgue. No, that doesn't sound right, but
I mean, that's how you could say it, I guess. That's true.
Yeah. I would kind of think like you're trying to find your audience for an established product that's already there, you know? It's like, it's Star Wars, like, so try to kind of like tell the story of like a war, and I think that the first few trailers really kind of showed that, like, you have Jedi versus Sith, you know, and like a different time, even like different from like the prequel era, you know, and then like with the second batch of trailers, you get more of like the Emperor's family, and you get to see the weird dynamics and buzz cuts they all have. And then it kind of ends on Disorder, and it kind of like Disorder kind of seemed to go back to the very first few trailers in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. With Malgus there, it definitely could have, you know, played off of, being like the fourth in line there to tell that story. If you just wanted to watch the Malgus ones, I think, probably. So, yeah. So that is the trailers there for the second half of the trailers for SWTOR anyway. So hopefully you've enjoyed, everyone out there listening, you know, getting into SWTOR with us a little bit, you know, talking about kind of the history of the game and then watching these cinematic trailers with us. It's been a really fun time to react to these and learn a little bit more about SWTOR, because it's a whole world of Star Wars that I'm not super familiar with, and I think that there is some good opportunities to do a little bit of learning more about this corner of the galaxy, for me at least. So
yeah, we'll see what happens next year. So I think we just have to like do the big scary like Kreia and Exile episodes, and maybe do the Hero's Journey episodes for the sequel trilogy, and then maybe we can explore more of SWTOR and like kind of some of the older Star Wars video games, you know. But yeah, that's kind of what I think next year will hold. But what about you?
Exactly. Yeah, I think those are definitely things we need to do. Carry on our hero's journey analysis there, and yeah, talk a little bit more kind of about those KOTOR characters, and hopefully dig into a little bit of the LucasArts back catalog. Looking forward to that for sure, and revisiting some of those classics. So if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with how things are going with the audio drama, and if you want to get in on any polls that we've got coming up for LucasArts video game episodes, you can do that on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/oldrepublicpodcast. So go check that out. It's a great way to support the podcast, and we appreciate our patrons very much over there. So thank you for all of your support. And this episode, I think, is coming out right before the end of the year. So hopefully everyone out there listening, thank you so much for tuning in over, 2023. Hopefully you've had a safe and happy year and holidays and all that good stuff. And thank you so much for tuning in along the way. It's meant a lot.
Yeah, I've always been grateful, and it's been good to, make some friends through the pod, and Brian's been a really good help for the podcast, because I would be lost technologically and probably also metaphorically as well, so without that help. So so yeah,
that's right. We need a star map to help light our way, but yeah, got a lot of fun stuff coming here for the new year. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know what your favorite SWTOR cinematic trailer was, or who your favorite characters are, and all that stuff. And we'll talk to you next time. Thank you. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Old Republic podcast can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, as well as everywhere else that Anchor podcasts are distributed. Subscriptions, reviews, and shares help us out.
And if you want to connect with the podcast on Twitter, we can be found at Old Republic Pod. And if you want to connect with me, I can be found on Instagram at astro_droid_.
You can find us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Old Republic Podcast. Our intro and outro themes were composed by Dennis S. Mowers at DennisSMowersMusic.com.
This episode of the Old Republic Podcast has been brought to you by Nicky Dog from Patreon. May the Force be with you. We will be back soon. Bye for now.